All right, thanks for joining me today, John. The first questions are always the easiest. What's your name and what organization are you with?
My name is Jon Pensa, and the organization is Pensa Branding.
Great. Tell me a little bit about what Pensa Branding does.
So it's actually a fairly new creation. I worked for over 20 years with in the industry to start, and then I've worked with my company out in Vancouver called ROMD Marketing and Design.
Mhm.
And I moved back to the London area a little over 10 years ago now. And over that time, we've done a little bit of work in the London area. Most of it is out west. And eventually I started feeling that I was missing out on the personal connection. I was missing out on the business side of connecting in the local community. Had a lot of great connections personally and also volunteer. I have coached youth basketball for many years, but I was missing that connection. So now I'm starting my own consultancy. Just started a little bit before the pandemic hit, so it was interesting timing. But starting to do a couple projects locally I'm excited about, and we basically are going to be offering branding, helping companies find that true authentic story and helping them tell it across all the major consumer touch points, from print, packaging, whatever it may be, to web, social media, advertising, etc.
So I think you kind of answered this question. Next question was how long has the company been around? But it sounds like early 2020.
That's correct.
Cool. As a branding person, maybe you'll get sort of the why we asked this question, but we'll like talk about what the company does. That's often easy, but do you have a sense for why the organization exists or what its purpose is?
Uh, well, I think the organization exists. Like I say, my passion has always been um, from a side of empathy, trying to understand what a client's customers may be thinking, what they may want, finding out that why about why a company does what they do, what their passion is. And then it's my passion to help them to tell that story. I love the variety of it. I do some coding as well. It's just such a great, from a logic and a creative standpoint. And I think it's one of the most important things to do. So,
I agree. It's sometimes underrated too. What's your background? What kind of led you into being passionate about that empathy piece or branding piece? Did you start your career that way, or was it something that you kind of got into over time?
sort of developed over time. My background is I was actually going to try and follow my father's footsteps and become a lawyer. I graduated from Western, that was the plan. And then it didn't feel right. So I took my portfolio of artwork that I had done over the years and put it out to art and design schools because I wanted a career that was a little more creative. Ended up at Emily Carr in Vancouver, where I stayed for 16 years living out there. And while I was at Emily Carr, people started talking about this thing called the internet. So the course I was in really changed and became something called electronic communication and design. And it really focused on the digital side and this new exciting thing that was happening. So once I went into the industry working and started our company with someone that I went to Emily Carr with, major focus on websites and that side with a little bit of logo creation, et cetera, et cetera. And then over the years, we just introduced new things, packaging, print, and we started seeing the bigger picture and thinking it all as one total, one whole under the branding umbrella. So I think it developed over time.
Awesome. So why did you start your own business versus maybe joining up with some existing firm, or uh, like why was it important to start your own?
I was with a firm for the first couple years. I always had that in mind. I found someone who was like-minded when I was at school, and that was always the plan. There's just always been something that appealed to me. I think I'm more entrepreneurial at heart. It's just always been a focus of mine. And we thought there was a great niche there to focus on either startups or established small to medium-sized companies, that the big players have the Cokes of the world. It's just something that always made sense to us.
Awesome. You've obviously joined the RHA Online network. Do you think it's important to be part of a network like that? And if so, why, or why not?
I think it's absolutely a fantastic thing you guys are doing. I think especially at the time we've been in, it's been a godsend. I know for me and for many others, where people were feeling a little bit uneasy, a little bit fearful, a little bit isolated, all these things. And this really has, there's a great group of people in there. I've had the pleasure of communicating with several people. It creates that sense of community. It's bringing in people not just from the local area, but Toronto and other climes. So it's been it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've heard from a few people that they've had some connections that they wouldn't have otherwise made, which is really kind of exciting for me anyway. It wasn't,
Yeah, it's great.
it wasn't the intent, but it's an obvious outcome of the network. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
One thing I like to ask as my final question before like the lightning round series, is there anything I should have asked about you or your business or your background that I should have asked about but didn't, or that you'd like the opportunity to tell our audience?
I guess what I would just talk about is the positive side of this quarantining that's happened. I think, at least for me personally, it's allowed me to really focus on it. It's time to, of course, with starting my new business, really helped me to focus on developing key aspects to my new business that maybe I didn't have time to before. So I feel more ready now than I probably ever have in terms of doing business. Um, it's allowed me to try some different things as well. I just taught a class on branding for the Western Accelerator, which was a great experience. Just before this all happened, I'm happy to be now on the mentor list with you guys. So there's lots of great things happening that some of it may not have happened.
I'd agree. That's it's been a great opportunity for a lot of us. Like the RHA Online, for example, was something I don't think we would have done, certainly not right away,
Right.
if it wasn't for COVID. So yeah, lots of opportunities if you kind of know where to look. All right, next up is the lightning round. You're ready. First question: married, single? What's your status there?
I am married.
Do you have any kids?
I have 3 kids.
What are the age ranges?
25, 21, and a 6'7", 17-year-old.
Play basketball?
He does.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think it's pretty much automatic at that height. All right. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Nice. Mars bars or Snickers?
Snickers.
Favorite movie?
Oh boy, that's a little tricky. I would maybe say Goodfellas.
Nice. Favorite book?
I've been doing a lot of business books, so I'm going to not do that. I'm going to go back instead to my favorite novel, A Fine Balance by Rohin Mistry.
Awesome. Since you're reading business books, what's your favorite business book lately?
The Brand Gap.
Nice. Favorite game or video game?
I would say Euchre.
Nice. Favorite vacation spot?
I'll go with the Cinque Terre in Italy.
Nice. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I think you don't want me to say this, but no, absolutely not.
I'm actually curious what the statistical representation would be. You're banished to an island and can take only one thing with you, and those not people, but thing. What is it?
I'll assume it can't be my laptop with full Wi-Fi, so I'll go with the world's largest crossword puzzle book.
Oh, nice. That'd be good. That'd be useful. Now you don't necessarily have a pen to take with you there, but it's only
Yeah,
one thing, or pencil. But I guess you could probably makeshift one out of a stick or something.
that's
All right.
right.
Well, thanks, John, for joining us today. It was a pleasure, and good to see you online. And hope to see you in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.